Beneath the noise of the world, beyond the veil of memory, there lies a force waiting for you to remember. You carry within you powers so vast, so luminous, that the universe itself bends in silent recognition when you awaken them. You were never small. You were never powerless. The illusion of weakness was only a curtain drawn across your vision. Tonight, that curtain is being torn. For in the next hours, you will walk through hidden doors, discover temples of light inside your own being, and remember what humanity has long forgotten. Stay until the end, and your inner world will not be the same. For this is not simply a book, it is a map to your buried magnificence. Chapter 1. The Power of Inner Vision. There is a power within you that no ruler can seize, no thief can steal, no storm can scatter. It is the first of the forgotten powers, the power of inner vision. It is the eye behind your eyes, the secret screen upon which reality is first written before it spills into the outer world. From childhood, you were told that what is real is what you can touch, taste, measure, and see. You were told that imagination was play, fantasy, a toy for the young. But this was the first lie that dimmed your flame. For imagination is not the shadow of reality, it is the womb of reality. What you dare to see in the silence of your mind becomes the substance from which the universe builds. Picture this. A sculptor stands before a block of marble. To the ordinary eye, it is heavy stone, silent and meaningless. But to the sculptor, within the block is already a figure waiting to be revealed. The vision exists before the first strike of the chisel. Without that inner vision, the stone remains dead weight. With it, the stone becomes immortal beauty. This is how creation works, whether in art, wealth, healing, or destiny. First, you must see it within. Your inner vision is not imagination in the sense of wishful daydreams. It is a doorway into the blueprint of existence. Quantum physicists speak of the field of probability where infinite versions of reality exist, waiting to collapse into form. When you close your eyes and envision yourself abundant, healthy, radiant, or free, you are not fantasizing. You are making contact with one of those infinite potentials. You are selecting a thread in the tapestry of existence and pulling it closer until it wraps itself around you in flesh and circumstance. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young woman, weary and bent by poverty. Her life seemed carved in stone, bills, debt, endless labor. One night, in despair, she sat alone and closed her eyes. Instead of counting her debts, she decided to see differently. She imagined her hands touching silk sheets, her kitchen filled with abundance, her laughter echoing in a home filled with beauty. Every night she returned to that vision, polishing it, making it sharper, feeling it until her heart burned as though it were true. Months passed. The world outside still looked the same, but something in her shifted. She walked differently, spoke differently, expected differently. And then, without force, without manipulation, the outer world rearranged. A new job opened, a chance encounter led to opportunity, and within 2 years, her life mirrored what she had seen in the silence. Her secret? She remembered the first forgotten power, inner vision. Your imagination is not child's play, it is divine play. Every empire, every invention, every song, every movement of progress on earth began as an unseen image in the mind of a human being. Airplanes were madness until they flew. Light bulbs were impossible until the vision burned bright enough to blind the darkness. What you see inwardly, faithfully, with passion and certainty, The universe must eventually paint upon the canvas of your life. But here is where most falter. They use their vision against themselves. They rehearse fears, they magnify lack, they envision catastrophe. And the universe, impartial and obedient, delivers exactly what was rehearsed. The power of vision never ceases. It only bends to the direction of your focus. Like sunlight through a magnifying glass, it burns wherever you aim it. Aim it at fear, and fear ignites. Aim it at abundance, and abundance appears. You must therefore become the guardian of your inner theater. For every image is a seed, and the subconscious mind does not ask whether the seed is poisonous or nourishing. It simply grows whatever is planted. So, how do you awaken this power deliberately? First, silence the noise. Sit in a quiet place, close your eyes, and breathe until your heart is steady. Then, step into the screen of your imagination. Don't simply see the vision, enter it. Feel the ground beneath your feet in that new reality. Smell the air of the place you long to be. Hear the voices of those congratulating you, loving you, standing beside you in joy. Let the scene become so vivid it overwhelms the senses. At that moment, the subconscious receives it not as fantasy, but as memory. And once it is imprinted as memory, reality must conspire to confirm it. This is why Neville Goddard once said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled." Because assumption is not daydream, it is embodiment. When you live in the vision as if it already breathes, the outer world has no choice but to reorganize itself. Let us look deeper. Imagine two people. One wakes up every morning rehearsing defeat. He says, "This will never work. I will always struggle. Things are stacked against me." He sees himself as small, unlucky, cursed. His inner theater is a tragedy, and soon enough, the outer world aligns to his script. The other wakes up and dares to hold a different vision. Even if his reality is bleak, he says, "I see myself free. I see myself prosperous. I see myself radiant." He rehearses this vision until it glows inside him. And in time, the script becomes his life. Which of these two are you? Now you might wonder, how long does it take? The answer is not in time, but in depth. Some visions are embraced so fully, so vividly, they collapse into reality with startling speed. Others require persistence, not because the vision is weak, but because your faith wavers. The law is absolute. What you impress inwardly, you will express outwardly. The forgotten power of vision is yours now. You need not beg for change. You need only see it, feel it, and live in it within. And when you do, you will discover the secret all creators know. The outer world is only the echo, never the source. Sacred practice, the vision chamber. Tonight, when you are alone, close your eyes and build a chamber of light in your mind. Imagine stepping into a vast golden hall with walls that shimmer like mirrors. In the center, place a throne. Sit upon it and see before you a screen of light. Upon that screen, project the life you desire most. Watch yourself already living it. Hear the laughter, feel the joy, taste the sweetness of it as though it is now. Spend at least 10 minutes here, soaking in the scene. When you rise from meditation, carry the fragrance of that vision with you into the day. Do this daily. Soon, you will find life bending to meet the picture you have already claimed. For the power of vision was never lost. It was only forgotten, and tonight it has been remembered. Chapter 2. The Power of Word and Voice. There is a vibration that cuts through the silence of the cosmos. It is the vibration that first said, "Let there be light." It is the sound that called galaxies into being, that stirred matter from void, that turned nothing into a symphony of existence. That vibration is the second of your forgotten powers, the power of word and voice. You may think of your words as fleeting air, as temporary sounds that vanish as soon as they are spoken, but the ancient ones knew better. They knew that the human voice is an instrument of creation, tuned to the very frequency of the divine. Each syllable you release carries the force of a command, a decree, a spell. Every sentence you whisper is a seed planted in the invisible soil of the universe. Think of a time when words cut you, when one cruel phrase shattered your confidence and you felt it sting for years. If words can wound the soul, do you not see that words can also heal it, raise it, resurrect it? If a sentence can destroy, then a sentence can also create. The forgotten power of voice is the reminder that what you say is not commentary, it is causation. There is an old parable from the desert. A traveler came upon a tribe where every morning the elders gathered at sunrise, lifted their faces to the sky, and spoke blessings into the wind. They blessed the crops, the children, the river, the strangers passing through. The traveler asked, "Why do you waste words on things already seen?" The elder replied, "Because the world does not move by sight but by sound. What is seen is old, what is spoken is born anew." And so it is with you. When you say, "I am poor, I am unlucky, I am weak," you are declaring a law, and the universe, impartial and faithful, fulfills it. When you say, "I am wealthy, I am chosen, I am radiant," you write a different decree, and the same universe rushes to obey. But here lies the hidden key. Your words gain power not by volume, but by conviction. A whisper of certainty outweighs a shout of doubt. The universe does not bend to noise, it bends to faith vibrating through sound. That is why a simple affirmation, spoken with full belief, is more powerful than hours of empty chatter. Consider the story of a man who lay sick, told by doctors that his days were numbered. He could have echoed their decree, repeating, "I am dying, I am finished." Instead, he began each morning with words no one else believed. "I am healing, I am strong, my body is light." He spoke them until tears came, until his cells vibrated with the rhythm of those words. And slowly, impossibly, the body obeyed the sound of his own voice. His healing was not a miracle, it was law. He remembered the second forgotten power. Let me ask you, what words are you speaking over your life today? Words are not decorations, they are spells. Every "I am" that escapes your lips is a command to creation. When you say, "I am always broke," you are not describing reality, you are sealing it. When you say, "I am open to wealth, I am aligned with abundance," you are not pretending, you are planting. And seeds, when spoken often, grow. Your voice carries frequency. Modern science has shown that sound can rearrange particles, shift patterns in water, shape sand into sacred geometry. If sound can sculpt matter in a lab, do you not think it sculpts the matter of your life? Every syllable reverberates through the field of possibility, reshaping what is yet to come. Yet, so often, you use your power unconsciously. You complain, you curse, you declare your limitations, and then wonder why they persist. You must awaken. Your voice is not casual, it is creative. To speak is to summon. To declare is to design. And here is the truth the ancients guarded. The most powerful words you will ever speak are not to others, but to yourself. For it is your inner dialogue, whispered endlessly in the silence of thought, that shapes the skeleton of your reality. You cannot speak defeat inside and expect victory outside. You cannot whisper lack to yourself and expect abundance to arrive. The voice inside your head is the architect. Train it, and the palace of your life will rise. Let me give you a vision. Imagine a temple of crystal, its walls humming with resonance. At the center lies an altar. Upon it is carved a single phrase, I am. This is the holiest of names, the gateway between the infinite and the finite. Whatever you place after I am becomes flesh, becomes form, becomes fate. Say, I am tired, and the universe agrees. Say, I am chosen, and the same law fulfills it. The altar of I am is yours, and every day you inscribe upon it. Choose wisely. I recall the story of a young boy who grew up hearing, "You will never amount to anything." The words wrapped around him like chains. For years, he lived under their shadow, believing them. Then one day, he learned of this forgotten power. He stood before a mirror and, through trembling lips, declared the opposite. I am more than enough. I am gifted. I am powerful. At first, it felt false, but he persisted, repeating it daily until those words carved a new identity within him. He rose from the ashes of curses and became a leader, a creator, a force. His transformation was not luck, it was law. This is the sacred invitation before you now. To reclaim your voice, to stop scattering it in gossip, in fear, in complaint, to turn it into a sword of light. With your words, you can cut through chains, command abundance, awaken healing, and summon destiny. Sacred practice, the word of power. Tonight, find a quiet place. Stand tall, feet grounded, heart steady. Place your hand over your chest and speak aloud a single phrase of power beginning with I am. Choose carefully. Perhaps, I am abundance. I am health. I am chosen. I am light. Speak it slowly with full breath until the words vibrate through your body. Speak it 7 times. With each repetition, feel the sound ripple through your cells, echo into the field around you, engrave itself upon reality. Then, throughout your day, guard your tongue. If you catch yourself declaring lack or limitation, pause. Reverse it instantly with a decree of light. You will find in time the atmosphere around you shifts. People respond differently. Opportunities appear. The outer world begins to mirror the sound you have been sending into it. For you are not merely a body, you are a voice of creation. And when you remember this power, your words become bridges between the unseen and the seen. The forgotten power of voice is alive in you now, and the question is, what world will you summon with it? Chapter 3. The Power of Belief. There is a force so subtle it cannot be weighed, and yet so mighty it bends empires, rewrites fate, and alters the very geometry of reality. It is the third forgotten power, the power of belief. Belief is not opinion. Belief is not casual thought. Belief is the foundation of worlds, the silent axis upon which destiny turns. For what you believe, you grant permission to exist in your life. What you refuse to believe, you exile from possibility. The universe is not moved by your wishes, it is moved by your certainty. Consider this. 2 men stand beneath the same sky. One believes he is cursed and so every event, every encounter becomes proof of his doom. The other believes he is chosen, and the same events, difficulties, delays, even losses, become stepping stones to his greatness. It is not the outer world that separates them. It is belief, the lens that paints reality. The mystics of old declared, "As you believe, so it is done unto you, not as you desire, not as you dream, but as you believe." For desire is hunger without certainty, and dreams are castles without foundation. But belief? Belief is the bedrock upon which the invisible becomes stone and soil. Let me take you into a story. There was once a healer who lived in a mountain village. People came to him with their ailments, begging for remedies. He carried no herbs, no potions, no tools. He would simply place his hands upon them and declare, "You are healed." Some would walk away whole, others remained unchanged. One day a traveler asked, "Why does your power work for some and not for others?" The healer replied, "I do not heal, their belief does. If they believe in the power, the body obeys. If they doubt, the body closes the door." You see, the universe reflects not your prayers, but your beliefs. You may beg for wealth, but if you believe money is evil, you will repel it. You may long for love, but if you believe you are unworthy, you will push it away. You may desire freedom, but if you believe you are trapped, the bars will remain. The outer world cannot betray the inner law of belief. Belief is not blind. It is not denial of reality. It is mastery of it. Belief is the sculptor's hand pressing shape into clay. It is the architect's drawing that commands stone into structure. Without belief, imagination remains a shadow and words remain sound. But with belief, imagination hardens into form and words become unshakable decree. Think of the Wright brothers. At a time when flight was ridiculed, when the world declared it impossible, they believed otherwise. That belief pulled the invisible down into steel and wings. Think of Thomas Edison, who failed 1,000 times, but each time carried the belief that light was inevitable. It was belief that sustained his hands when results had not yet arrived. Think of every prophet, every teacher, every creator. They all carried belief as their shield and compass. And belief is not passive. It is active alignment. When you believe, your posture changes, your choices shift, your energy speaks louder than words. You walk into a room differently. You attract differently. You create differently. Belief is a frequency that others feel before you speak. It is invisible armor, invisible magnetism, invisible fire. But here lies the danger. Belief works both ways. If you believe in lack, lack multiplies. If you believe in failure, failure repeats. The law does not discriminate, it only reflects. This is why so many live lives of quiet despair, chained not by circumstance, but by belief in their own limitation. What, then, is the path to changing belief? It begins by recognizing that belief is not truth. It is choice. You did not arrive with beliefs. They were planted in you. As a child, you heard voices, parents, teachers, society, telling you what was possible, what was impossible, who you were not. Those voices became roots, and the roots grew into beliefs. But the soil is still yours. You can uproot and replant at will. The alchemists of the Spirit knew this. They trained themselves to plant beliefs deliberately. They declared themselves sons of God, co-creators with the divine, infinite and eternal. And their lives reflected it. For when you carry a higher belief, the lower dissolves. Light does not argue with darkness, it replaces it. Let me show you an image. Imagine a great hall of mirrors. Each mirror reflects a possible version of you. The poor you, the wealthy you, the sick you, the radiant you, the fearful you, the fearless you. Belief is the mirror you choose to stand before. When you believe you are powerless, you stand before that mirror, and life reflects it. When you believe you are powerful, you step into that mirror, and it reflects that instead. The hall does not change. You change which mirror you accept as your identity. One of the most powerful examples of belief comes from athletes. Time and again, records considered impossible are shattered because one person believed. The 4-minute mile was once declared beyond human ability until Roger Bannister broke it. Afterward, many followed, because belief had shifted. The impossible became possible not because the body changed, but because the belief did. Now, let us bring this to you. What do you believe about money? About love? About your worth? About destiny? Be honest, for your life cannot rise above your belief. If you are trapped in limitation, it is not the world holding you. It is the belief you have chosen to hold, and if you dare to choose differently, the world must rearrange. Sacred practice, the belief reset. Tonight, take a piece of paper and write down 3 beliefs you carry that limit you. Perhaps, I will never be wealthy. I am unworthy of love. Success is for others, not for me. Be ruthlessly honest. Then, beside each, write its opposite. I am aligned with wealth. I am worthy of deep love. Success flows to me with ease. Now, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and imagine placing the old beliefs into a fire. Watch them burn. Watch their ashes scatter into nothingness. Then, take the new beliefs and imagine planting them in fertile soil within your chest. See them sprouting, growing tall, bearing fruit. Whisper them aloud until they feel natural, until your body accepts them. Do this daily, and soon the old will wither, the new will bloom, and your life will mirror the seed you have chosen. The forgotten power of belief is awake in you now. Do not take it lightly, for it is not the stars, not the economy, not the opinions of others that shape your fate. It is the unseen hand of your own belief. And once you reclaim it, you will find that nothing is fixed, nothing is final. Reality bends to the certainty you dare to hold. Chapter 4. The Power of Emotion. There is a fire within you that moves faster than thought, that shapes your life more powerfully than logic, that whispers to the universe even when your lips are silent. It is the 4th forgotten power, the power of emotion. If imagination is the blueprint, and words are the decree, and belief is the foundation, then emotion is the electricity that animates the whole design. Without emotion, vision is flat, words are hollow, belief is lifeless. But when you feel with depth, with fire, with trembling sincerity, the universe does not simply hear you, it rushes to meet you. Emotion is energy in motion. It is the vibration that tells the field of possibility what you are truly aligned with. For you may say, I am abundant, but if your emotion trembles with fear and lack, the universe reads the vibration, not the syllables. You may imagine wealth, but if the feeling you carry is one of despair, you have short-circuited the vision. Emotion is the language of the subconscious, and the subconscious writes reality. Think of the times in your life when you felt pure joy, deep love, radiant gratitude. In those moments, life seemed to unfold effortlessly. People smiled at you, opportunities opened, coincidences blossomed like flowers. Why? Because your vibration rose and reality rose with it. On the other hand, when you have lived in anger, despair, resentment, you have noticed how doors seem to close, how even the smallest troubles multiplied. Again, why? Because emotion is magnetic. What you feel, you attract. The mystics were not poets when they spoke of the heart. They were scientists of the soul. They knew that the heart generates an electromagnetic field far stronger than the brain. They knew that emotion imprints the body, the aura, the very frequency you broadcast to creation. This is why gratitude, love, joy, and reverence are not casual moods. They are sacred technologies. To feel them is to tune your body into harmony with abundance itself. Let me tell you a story. There was once a farmer who lived in drought. The land was cracked, the crops withered, the village starved. The people prayed for rain with words, with rituals, with desperation. But no rain came. Finally, they called upon a wanderer known for his wisdom. The wanderer entered the barren fields, stood in silence, closed his eyes. He did not beg. He did not plead. He simply stood still until tears ran down his face. When asked what he had done, he replied, "I felt the rain. I smelled the wet earth. I felt the drops on my skin. I heard the laughter of children dancing in the storm. I gave thanks as if it had already come." That is the prayer that moves mountains. Days later, clouds gathered and the rains returned. Do you see? Emotion collapses distance. When you feel the future as if it is now, the universe dissolves the space between vision and manifestation. To feel is to fuse with the outcome. Yet here lies the danger. Just as positive emotion births miracles, negative emotion sustains chains. If you dwell in fear, you will keep attracting situations that confirm it. If you live in bitterness, you will magnetize betrayal. If you radiate despair, you will feed it with more evidence. The law does not punish, it reflects. Your emotional state is your silent prayer, repeated without words, answered without delay. So the question becomes, how do you master this power? First, you must stop being a prisoner of unconscious emotion. Most people are dragged by feelings like leaves in the wind, tossed by circumstances, enslaved to moods. But you must rise to mastery. You must become deliberate, choosing what you feel, cultivating emotion as carefully as a gardener tends roses. This is not denial. This is sovereignty. Second, learn to transmute. When sadness comes, do not bury it. Breathe it into gratitude for the lessons hidden within. When fear arises, transform it into anticipation for the growth ahead. When anger erupts, channel it into passion for justice, into fuel for creation. Every emotion contains energy. Do not waste it. Redirect it. Third, dwell often in gratitude. Gratitude is the master key, the golden frequency. When you feel grateful, even before the blessing arrives, you signal to the universe, "It is already mine." And the law responds, gratitude multiplies what you focus upon. Let me show you an image. Imagine your emotions as colors of light streaming from your chest. Fear is gray, anger is red, joy is gold, gratitude is radiant white. As you walk through life, these colors spill outward, painting the canvas of your experience. Others feel it before they see you. The universe arranges itself to match it. If you desire a life of beauty, you must paint with colors of love, joy, and gratitude. Think of the moments in history where emotion shifted worlds. Revolutions ignited not from logic but from collective passion. Movements rose not from statistics but from the fire of hearts. The greatest speeches, the greatest art, the greatest music, they all bypassed the intellect and went straight to the core of feeling. For it is emotion, not argument, that stirs creation. Now let us bring this home. What do you feel about money when you think of it? Is it fear, lack, resentment? Then money will mirror that. What do you feel about love? Is it unworthiness, mistrust? Then relationships will echo it. You cannot outwit emotion, you must master it. For the world does not reflect your intentions, it reflects your vibration. Sacred practice, the emotional alchemy. Tonight, choose one outcome you desire. Perhaps it is wealth, perhaps healing, perhaps love. Close your eyes. Imagine it vividly. Now, shift from thought to feeling. What emotion would you feel if this were already yours? Joy? Gratitude? Relief? Excitement? Let it rise in your body until it burns like fire in your chest. Hold it. Breathe into it. Multiply it. Do not stop until tears come, until your body trembles, until the emotion feels more real than the room around you. Do this daily, and soon your subconscious will not distinguish between vision and memory. It will assume the outcome is already true, and when the subconscious accepts, reality follows. This is emotional alchemy, the power to turn invisible feeling into tangible form. The forgotten power of emotion has now been remembered within you. Guard it, cultivate it, live in its mastery. For when you learn to choose what you feel, you become sovereign over creation itself. Chapter 5. The Power of Faith. Faith is not fragile. Faith is not naive hope. Faith is a roaring current that runs deeper than reason, a force older than logic, a bridge between the unseen and the seen. It is the fifth forgotten power, the power of faith. Faith is the invisible hand that holds the universe steady when storms rage. It is the quiet voice that whispers, "It is already done," even when evidence screams the opposite. Faith does not require proof. Faith is proof. For when you possess it, reality has no choice but to bend to your certainty. Think of a seed planted in the earth. For days, perhaps weeks, there is nothing to see. The soil is silent. To the impatient eye, it looks as though nothing is happening. Yet deep beneath, roots are spreading, life is stirring, growth is inevitable. Faith is the knowing that even when the soil looks barren, the harvest is already rising. Faith waits without anxiety because it knows. Faith walks without hesitation because it sees beyond sight. The ancient mystics declared, "Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Notice, not wish, not hope, substance, evidence. Faith is not empty. It is tangible in the invisible. It is the invisible made real before the visible arrives. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who dreamed of crossing a desert to reach a hidden oasis. He carried only a jug of water, enough for a few days. Halfway across, his water ran dry. The sun scorched, his lips cracked, his body weakened. Others who had attempted this journey before had turned back, convinced the oasis was myth. But this man pressed forward, holding only one conviction: the oasis is real, and it is waiting for me. For days he staggered under the burning sky, driven not by proof, but by faith. At the edge of death, he crested a dune. and there it was. Palm trees, shade, springs of cool water. The oasis had always been there. The difference between him and the others was not strength of body, but strength of faith. So it is with you. Your oasis, your wealth, your love, your destiny is already waiting. But many turn back, convinced it is myth, because they demanded proof before faith. But the law is reversed. Faith first, proof after. The unseen must be believed before the seen can appear. Faith is not blind optimism. It is a vibration, a frequency, a stance of soul. When you stand in faith, you radiate certainty, and certainty is magnetic. Faith does not mean you deny obstacles. It means you see beyond them. Faith does not mean you ignore challenges. It means you know challenges are bridges, not barriers. Consider the stories of great creators. Edison, after 1,000 failed experiments, said, "I have not failed 1,000 times. I have found 1,000 ways that do not work." That is faith. The Wright brothers believed in flight when science ridiculed them. That is faith. The prophets and sages who declared healing where there was sickness, abundance where there was lack, they moved with faith, and reality obeyed. Faith is also contagious. Walk into a room with doubt, and others will doubt with you. Walk into a room with faith, and others will catch fire from it. Your certainty becomes a field that others feel before you speak. This is why leaders are remembered, not because they always had proof, but because they carried faith so strong it became proof for others. But here lies the truth. You already live by faith, though often unconsciously. Every night you lay down to sleep, believing you will wake. Every time you drive across a bridge, you believe it will hold. Every time you plant a seed, you believe it will grow. The question is not whether you have faith, it is where you place it. Do you place it in fear, in failure, in limitation? Or do you place it in abundance, in destiny, in divine alignment? Faith misplaced becomes chains. Faith rightly placed becomes wings. Let us look deeper. Faith is not passive. It is action aligned with unseen certainty. When you believe the harvest is coming, you water the seed even when the soil looks empty. When you believe the door will open, you keep knocking even when the hallway is silent. When you believe abundance is yours, you act generously even when the bank account is low. Faith shapes behavior, and behavior shapes destiny. Imagine this. A bridge shrouded in fog stretches across a canyon. You cannot see the other side. You cannot see more than a few steps ahead. Faith is taking the first step, knowing the bridge continues even when you cannot see it. Step by step, the path reveals itself. Without faith, you never move, and the other side remains a dream. With faith, you arrive. Faith is also a shield. In times of loss, it guards the heart from despair. In times of trial, it protects the mind from collapse. Faith whispers, "This too shall pass." Faith says, "Even in the valley, the mountaintop is near." Faith steadies you when reason fails. Now, let me give you another story. There was a woman who longed for a child. Doctors told her it was impossible, her body too frail, her years too advanced. But she carried faith. Every day, she set a place at her table for the child. She bought clothes. She prepared a room. She spoke to the child as though it were already here. People mocked her, said she was delusional, but her faith never broke. Years later, she conceived, and the child was born. The miracle was not in biology, it was in faith. For she had lived as though the promise were already fulfilled, and the universe bent to her conviction. So, what is faith to you? It is not waiting. It is not begging. It is the stance of certainty that says, "It is already mine. I need not chase it. I need not doubt it. I already hold it in the unseen, and the seen must follow." Sacred practice, walking in faith. Tonight, take one desire that feels impossible. Write it down clearly. Now, close your eyes and breathe. See yourself already living it, but more importantly, decide. Decide that it is done. Do not ask when. Do not ask how. Simply declare, "It is finished." Now, here is the practice. For the next 7 days, walk as though it is already true. If you long for wealth, carry yourself with the energy of one who is already wealthy. If you long for love, move as one who is already loved. If you long for health, behave as one who is already whole. Let your posture, your speech, your choices flow from faith, not from sight. As you do, the field around you will shift. Opportunities will open, coincidences will align, the unseen will begin to crystallize into the seen. For the law cannot resist faith, it must obey it. The forgotten power of faith is alive in you now. It is the hand that pulls the invisible into the visible, the voice that steadies storms, the certainty that bends destiny. Guard it, grow it, live it. For when faith is your foundation, no force in heaven or earth can stand against you. Chapter 6. The Power of Intuition. There is a voice inside you that does not shout, that does not argue, that does not reason. It whispers, it nudges, it stirs like a gentle current beneath the surface of your awareness. This is the 6th forgotten power, the power of intuition. Intuition is the compass of the soul. It is the quiet knowing that arises before thought, the truth that appears without logic, the guidance that comes from beyond the mind. You have felt it, the sudden pull to call a friend, only to find they needed you most. The urge to walk a different path, only to avoid an unseen danger. The inexplicable certainty about a choice that later proved to be the turning point of your life. That is not coincidence. That is the forgotten voice of intuition. You were born with this power. Children live by it naturally. They sense the moods of those around them without words. They feel who to trust and who to avoid. They move in harmony with the subtle currents of life. But as you grew, the world told you to silence it. Schools taught you to worship only reason. Society taught you to ignore your instincts. And so, the voice grew faint, but it was never gone. It waits now, patient, ready to be remembered. Think of intuition as the thread that connects you to the vast intelligence of the universe. The same intelligence that moves the stars, that orchestrates the tides, that guides the seasons, is available to you through this inner sense. While the mind analyzes, intuition sees. While reason debates, intuition knows. Let me share a story. There was once a merchant who traveled by caravan across dangerous lands. Bandits lurked, storms threatened, paths twisted into confusion. One evening, as the caravan prepared to set camp, the merchant felt a stirring within, a quiet warning. He could not explain it. The sky was clear, the road seemed safe, yet something urged him to move on. Against the protests of his companions, he pressed forward through the night. By dawn, they discovered that raiders had attacked the very place they had planned to rest. His intuition had saved them, though logic would have left them in danger. So it is with you. Intuition does not always make sense. It does not offer explanations. It simply knows. And when you obey it, doors open, paths clear, protection surrounds you. When you ignore it, you stumble, only to realize later that the voice was right all along. But how do you awaken this power deliberately? First, you must learn to quiet the noise. Intuition speaks in stillness, not in chaos. The constant chatter of mind and world drowns it out. In silence, in meditation, in solitude, the whisper grows clearer. Create spaces in your life where stillness can speak, and you will hear the voice you forgot was always there. Second, you must learn to trust. Intuition often guides you without giving reasons. It asks you to leap without showing the ground. To follow it requires faith. The more you obey, the stronger it becomes. The less you trust, the quieter it grows. Intuition is like a friend. It opens when honored, withdraws when ignored. Third, you must learn to feel it in the body. Intuition does not speak in words, but in sensations. A tightening in the chest, a lightness in the stomach, a sudden warmth, a shiver, a pull. The body is an instrument of intuition. To listen is to notice how the body reacts before the mind interferes. Think of all the times you said, "Something told me," and later discovered you should have listened. That something is not imagination, it is guidance. The more you honor it, the more it becomes your constant companion. Now, imagine intuition as a golden thread connecting your heart to the infinite library of knowledge in the universe. Every choice you face is a door, and intuition is the key that shows you which door opens into destiny. It does not shout, it simply glows, inviting you to follow. When you do, life begins to feel orchestrated, as though unseen hands are arranging the path. Synchronicities multiply, coincidences stack, and you realize it was never coincidence. It was intuition leading all along. Let me give you another story. A woman once dreamed of starting her own business. Logic told her it was foolish. She had no money, no contacts, no experience. Yet her intuition urged her to begin. She followed small nudges, speaking to a stranger at a cafe, attending an event she nearly skipped, making a phone call that felt unimportant. Each step, guided by intuition, connected her to opportunities she could never have planned. Within a year, her business bloomed. Looking back, she realized logic could not have charted this path. Only intuition could. This is the gift of intuition. It sees the whole map when you see only one step. It perceives threads of connection invisible to the mind. It guides you not by reason but by resonance. But here lies the truth. Intuition is not only for protection or decision-making, it is the root of genius. Every great invention, every masterpiece, every breakthrough came not from logic, but from a spark of intuition. Einstein spoke of intuition as a sacred gift, declaring that the rational mind is its servant. Artists, scientists, leaders, all who create at the highest level, speak of moments when ideas simply arrived, fully formed, as though whispered by an unseen muse. That is intuition in its highest form, the channel of the infinite pouring through you. Now, how do you live by it? Begin with practice. Each morning before the day begins, place your hand on your heart, breathe deeply, and ask, "What do I need to know today?" The answer may be a word, an image, a feeling. Trust it. Act upon it. The more you practice, the stronger it grows. Throughout your day, pause before decisions. Do not only ask, "What is logical?" Ask also what feels aligned. Notice the subtle cues. Intuition will not argue. It will only nudge. The more you honor it, the more it will lead you into paths of grace. Sacred practice, the whisper exercise. Tonight, sit in silence. Breathe slowly until your mind grows still. Place your hand over your heart. Ask one question that matters deeply to you. It may be about love, about money, about destiny. Do not force the answer. Simply wait. Notice the first impression that arises, a word, an image, a sensation. That is the whisper. Do not dismiss it. Write it down. Over the next 3 days, follow it, even if it seems small or strange. Watch as synchronicities unfold, as opportunities appear, as the path clears. This is how you train the muscle of intuition. This is how you remember what you once knew as a child, that you are never unguided, never alone, always connected. The forgotten power of intuition is alive within you. It is the compass of your soul, the whisper of the infinite, the guide that leads you home. Trust it, and your life will unfold with a beauty and precision that reason could never design. Chapter 7. The Power of Focus. There is a law written into the very fabric of existence. What you focus upon expands. It is the seventh forgotten power, the power of focus. Your attention is the most precious currency you possess. Where it goes, energy flows. Where energy flows, form grows. Every empire, every invention, every destiny has been shaped not by scattered thought, but by concentrated focus. Yet most live as beggars of their own attention, letting it scatter upon every distraction, every fear, every flicker of circumstance, until their energy is diluted into weakness. But you, if you remember this power, you will learn that your focus is a sacred laser. It carves through illusion. It magnifies possibility. It summons reality into form. Think of the Sunday. Its light warms the earth, nourishes life, paints the sky, but dispersed it cannot burn. Place that same light through a magnifying glass, and it ignites fire. Your focus is that magnifying glass. Scattered, it is soft. Concentrated, it is unstoppable. Let me tell you a story. There was once a monk who sought enlightenment. He meditated daily, but his mind was restless. Thoughts wandered, images drifted, distractions swirled. He felt no progress. One day his teacher placed before him a bowl of water and said, "Stare at the surface until you see only your reflection." Hours passed. The monk struggled, fidgeted, grew frustrated, but he persisted. Finally, the moment came. The ripples stilled, his reflection became clear, and so did his mind. In that instant, he realized, enlightenment is not a distant place, but a focus sharpened so deeply that the illusions dissolve. From that day, he mastered his mind, and the world bent to his clarity. So it is with you. Your life is the reflection of your focus. If you stare constantly at lack, lack multiplies. If you obsess over problems, problems grow. But if you focus on abundance, on vision, on possibility, the universe aligns with that lens. Focus is not passive observation, it is creative selection. Modern science, too, has stumbled upon this truth. Quantum experiments reveal that particles behave differently when observed. The act of focus changes the outcome. The observer is not separate but part of creation itself. You are not watching reality, you are shaping it with the lens of your attention. And yet, look at the world. billions enslaved by distraction. Every screen, every noise, every craving fights for your focus. Why? Because those who control your attention control your energy. Those who scatter your focus scatter your power. To reclaim your life, you must reclaim your focus. But how? First, you must decide what matters. Focus is not only about exclusion of distraction, it is about devotion to the essential. Ask yourself, what do I truly seek? Wealth? Love? Freedom? Awakening? Choose and let your focus become worship. Let your attention return again and again to the vision, like a pilgrim returning to a shrine. Second, you must train your mind. The untrained mind is like a restless child darting from toy to toy, never still, never deep. Begin with simple practice. Sit in silence, close your eyes, and focus only on your breath. The mind will wander. Bring it back. Again and again, bring it back. Over time, the muscle of focus strengthens. Soon you will wield attention like a sword. Third, you must guard your focus as treasure. Refuse to give it cheaply to gossip, to fear, to distractions that drain you. Every time you dwell on what you do not want, you are paying energy into a future you despise. Every time you dwell on your vision, you are investing in the future you desire. Choose with care. Let me give you another story. A young artist dreamed of painting a masterpiece, but he was poor, distracted, burdened by daily survival. Years passed, and he produced little. One day, a mentor told him, "Your gift is not talent, it is focus. Give 1 hour each day, without distraction, and you will see." The artist obeyed. At first, progress was slow, but with each day of concentrated focus, the painting grew. Within a year, his masterpiece was complete, and it opened doors to wealth and recognition. His talent had always been there. Focus was the key that unlocked it. So it is with you. You carry wealth, love, power, creativity within you. But until you focus, it remains dormant. Focus awakens the seed. Imagine walking through a forest at night with only a lantern. You cannot see the whole path. You see only what the lantern illuminates. But that light is enough to keep moving. Focus is your lantern. The more you hold it steady, the further you can walk. Waver it, and the path disappears. Hold it, and the destination reveals itself step by step. This is why focus is sacred. It is not merely attention, it is direction, it is choice, it is creation. Now, let us bring this to your daily life. How much of your focus do you waste on fear, on replaying past wounds, on feeding doubts? Every thought is an investment, and focus is compound interest. Where you deposit it, life multiplies. Deposit it into vision, and vision expands. Deposit it into fear, and fear expands. The law is impartial. Sacred practice, the circle of focus. Tonight, take a sheet of paper. Draw a circle in the center. Inside, write one vision you desire most: a business, a love, a healing, a destiny. Around the circle, write all the distractions and fears that pull you away. Now, for the next 7 days, commit to giving your focus daily to what is inside the circle and withdrawing it from what is outside. Each time fear arises, return to the circle. Each time distraction calls, return to the circle. Each time doubt whispers, return to the circle. Let your focus become devotion, and watch as the universe multiplies what you have chosen. The forgotten power of focus is yours now. You need not beg for miracles. You need only aim your attention like a beam of light. For what you focus upon expands. And when you learn to focus not on shadows but on vision, not on lack but on abundance, not on fear but on destiny, then nothing can stop the unfolding of your greatness. Chapter 8. The Power of Imagination. There is a kingdom within you, vast and limitless, where no laws of gravity bind you, where no walls confine you, where no circumstance dictates what is possible. It is the eighth forgotten power, the power of imagination. Imagination is not escape, it is creation. It is not fantasy, it is foundation. Every invention, every poem, every empire began first as an image in the unseen. Before the wheel rolled, before the pyramids rose, before rockets pierced the sky, they lived as visions in the theater of imagination. To belittle imagination is to belittle the womb of reality itself. As a child, you lived in this kingdom freely. You built castles in the air, you held conversations with invisible friends, you played with realities others could not see. In those moments, you were closer to the truth than you have ever been since, for you were practicing the divine art of creation. But then you were told, grow up, stop daydreaming, be realistic. And with those words, the door began to close. But the door was never locked. You can reopen it now. Imagination is the preview of what reality is preparing. It is the sketch before the painting, the melody before the song, the seed before the tree. And here is the secret. What you consistently imagine with feeling becomes inevitable. Let me tell you a story. There was once a prisoner, locked in a tiny cell, his body bound by chains. Others saw only stone walls and iron bars. But every night, in his imagination, he walked freely through fields of grass. He imagined the taste of fresh fruit, the laughter of loved ones, the embrace of freedom. Years passed, but his inner world grew brighter than his outer cage. One day, he was released. Stepping into the sunlight, he wept, not because he was free, but because he realized he had never truly been imprisoned. His body had been bound, but his imagination had always been infinite. So it is with you. The world may place limits upon your circumstance, but no one can chain your imagination. And whatever you dare to hold within, with persistence, must eventually shape the outer. For the outer is but the shadow, and the inner is the source. The great teacher Neville Goddard declared, "Imagination creates reality." He was not speaking metaphor, he was describing law. The subconscious mind, which governs your destiny, does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. If you imagine it deeply enough, your subconscious accepts it as memory, and the universe conspires to prove it true. Think of the Wright brothers. They saw flying machines in their minds when the world laughed at the impossibility. They lived in the vision until wings grew from wood and fabric. Think of Steve Jobs, who imagined a device holding thousands of songs in your pocket when such a thing seemed absurd. He held the vision until it manifested in the hands of millions. The world changes not by those who accept what is, but by those who imagine what could be. But imagination is not only for inventors or visionaries. It is for you. It is for your life, your wealth, your love, your destiny. Each time you close your eyes and picture yourself abundant, radiant, fulfilled, you are rehearsing the future. Each time you dwell in lack and disaster, you are rehearsing the nightmare. The law does not ask what you prefer. It gives you what you imagine most vividly. Now, here is the danger. Most people use imagination against themselves. They replay old wounds. They envision worst-case scenarios. They build inner movies of fear, failure, and rejection. And then, when those movies play out in real life, they call it fate. But it was never fate, it was rehearsal. So the path of mastery is this: reclaim your imagination. Use it deliberately. Make it your temple. Enter it daily. Paint the images you desire. Live within them until they feel natural. Then release them, trusting that reality will echo back what you have rehearsed. Let me give you another story. A young woman trapped in debt began a nightly practice. Each evening before sleep, she would close her eyes and imagine herself writing checks with ease, walking through stores with freedom, blessing others with generosity. She felt the joy, the relief, the gratitude as though it were happening now. Months passed, and slowly her reality shifted. Opportunities arrived, debts cleared, abundance flowed. Years later, she was wealthy. Looking back, she said, "My wealth was born the day I chose to imagine differently." This is the forgotten power you hold. You are not the victim of circumstance. You are the author of imagination. Now, how do you awaken it deliberately? First, embrace vividness. Do not merely think of abundance. See it, feel it, smell it. Imagine the scent of your new home, the sound of laughter in its halls, the taste of celebration. The more senses you engage, the more real it becomes to your subconscious. Second, practice consistency. One vision entertained once is a spark. A vision revisited daily is a fire. Choose your scene and return to it every night, especially before sleep, when the subconscious is most receptive. Third, let imagination spill into your actions. If you imagine yourself wealthy, carry yourself as wealthy. If you imagine yourself loved, walk with the posture of one already embraced. Align your outer being with your inner vision, and the two will fuse. Sacred practice, the living scene. Tonight, before sleep, choose one scene that represents your desire fulfilled. Perhaps it is a handshake sealing a business deal. Perhaps it is holding the hand of a partner. Perhaps it is celebrating health with loved ones. Enter the scene in imagination. Do not watch it, live it. Feel the emotions, hear the sounds, breathe the air. Let the scene run until it feels like memory. Drift into sleep while still living in it. Do this for 21 nights, and you will find subtle shifts in your world. Coincidences will arise, opportunities will appear, and slowly the inner will sculpt the outer. The forgotten power of imagination is yours now. It is not play, it is prophecy. It is not fantasy. It is the furnace of creation. Guard it, honor it, use it. For when you dare to imagine, you dare to create. Chapter 9. The Power of Will. There is a force within you, deeper than desire, stronger than circumstance, older than fear. It is the flame that refuses to be extinguished, the current that continues even when storms batter against you. It is the 9th forgotten power, the power of will. Desire is the spark, but will is the fire. Intention is the plan, but will is the execution. Faith is the certainty, but will is the persistence. Without will, even the grandest visions dissolve into nothing. With will, even the smallest ember becomes an inferno that reshapes the world. Will is not mere stubbornness. It is not blind force. It is alignment with the inner command that says, "This is who I am. This is where I go. Nothing can turn me aside." It is the silent strength that endures when inspiration fades, when motivation dies, when results have not yet arrived. It is the bridge between unseen belief and seen reality. Think of the river. Year after year, it flows against stone. The stone is strong, the river is patient. Over time, the will of water carves canyons, shapes valleys, and moves mountains. So too with your will. It may seem weak against circumstance, but over time, it reshapes destiny. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man born into poverty so deep that survival itself was a daily battle. He dreamed of freedom, of wealth, of leaving a legacy, but every attempt seemed to fail. Friends abandoned him, doors closed, years passed. Many told him to surrender, to accept his lot, yet his will refused. Each failure became fuel, each obstacle became training. He said to himself, "I will rise, even if it takes a lifetime." Decades later, he did. His name is remembered. His life became legend. Not because he was luckier, not because he was smarter, but because he had will when others surrendered. So it is with you. Vision without will is a dream. Belief without will is potential. But will is the hammer that strikes the stone until the shape emerges. Will is the unseen force that makes the impossible bend to persistence. But here lies the danger. Many mistake will for force against the universe. They think will means straining, grasping, exhausting themselves. No, true will is not frantic. True will is steady. It is patient. It is enduring alignment. It does not panic. It does not break. It simply continues. The mystics called it the royal will, the sovereign force of soul. It is the choice to remain aligned with your vision no matter how many storms howl. It is the refusal to bend to appearances. It is the silent declaration, "My inner law is stronger than outer circumstance." Think of the seed pushing through soil. The earth above is heavy, the darkness pressing, yet the will of life within the seed does not surrender. It pushes, slowly, patiently, until green breaks through. That same will is in you, the will to rise, the will to grow, the will to manifest what is already yours in the unseen. Now, how do you awaken and strengthen this power? First, by commitment. Decide what you will create and commit without escape. Do not give your mind an exit. Burn the bridges that lead backward. Declare to yourself, "This is my path, and I will not turn aside." Will grows strong where indecision dies. Second, by persistence. Return daily, even when nothing appears to change. Do the practice, hold the vision, speak the words, feel the emotions. Results are not the measure of will. Consistency, island will, is built each time you continue when it would be easier to stop. Third, by surrender to alignment. Will does not mean fighting against the flow. It means aligning so deeply with the inner vision that nothing can dislodge you. It is not rigid. It is rooted, like a tree, bending with wind but never breaking. Let me give you another story. There was a woman who longed to heal her body. Years of illness had weakened her, and doctors said nothing could be done. She began a practice of visualization, of affirmation, of gratitude. At first, nothing changed. Days became weeks, weeks became months. Still, she continued, others mocked her persistence, but she did not stop. Years later, her body was restored. When asked what healed her, she said, "It was not the practice alone, It was my will to never stop. I refused to accept the verdict. I chose to endure until the unseen became seen. This is the essence of will. It is not glamorous. It is not dramatic. It is steady, unshakable, eternal. Those who master it become unstoppable, for nothing can truly defeat one who refuses to quit. Now, think of your own life. How many times have you surrendered just before the breakthrough? How many dreams have you abandoned because the soil looked barren? The universe does not reward the first spark. It rewards the steady flame. Will is the force that carries you through the silence, through the waiting, through the seasons when nothing seems to bloom. For beneath the surface, everything is moving, everything is preparing. The harvest belongs to those who endure. Imagine your will as a staff of light in your hand. With each step, it strikes the ground, declaring, "I continue, I endure, I rise." Each strike shakes the unseen, reverberates through the fabric of reality, calling forth alignment. The staff may not clear the entire path at once, but it ensures you will never be without ground beneath your feet. Sacred practice, the flame of will. Tonight, light a single candle. Sit before it in silence. As the flame burns, imagine it as your will. Notice how it does not strain. It does not shout. It simply burns, steady and unwavering, despite the air that tries to flicker it. Now, close your eyes and see your vision. Wealth, love, healing, destiny. Say to yourself, "My will is steady. I do not stop. I do not surrender. I continue until the unseen is seen." Each day, return to this candle. Let it remind you, the flame of will is eternal within you. When doubts rise, when fear whispers, when results delay, remember the flame. Do not extinguish it. Feed it with persistence, with alignment, with choice. The forgotten power of will is alive in you now. It is the fire that carries you through valleys, the current that pushes you through storms, the staff that ensures your path unfolds. Master it, and you will find that nothing, no obstacle, no delay, no circumstance, can stop the destiny written within you. Chapter 10. The Power of Gratitude. There is a frequency that bends the universe with more force than striving, more clarity than reason, more strength than fear. It is the 10th forgotten power, the power of gratitude. Gratitude is more than manners, more than polite words spoken before meals or after gifts. Gratitude is alchemy. It is the act of transmuting what you have into abundance, of transforming the ordinary into miracle, of drawing near the invisible by celebrating the visible. Gratitude is not what you feel when life gives you blessings. It is what unlocks the blessings themselves. You have been told to chase more, to strive harder, to demand from the universe. But here lies the secret. When you are grateful for what already is, you magnetize more. When you despise what is, you repel the very abundance you long for. Gratitude is the bridge between what you have and what you desire. Think of a tuning fork. Strike it, and it vibrates with a frequency. Hold another tuning fork near, and it will begin to vibrate in resonance. Gratitude is your tuning fork. When you radiate gratitude, the universe, which vibrates in abundance, begins to resonate with you. Gratitude is the harmonizing force that tunes your soul to the song of creation. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who lived in poverty. Each morning he cursed his lot, his small home, his meager food, his torn clothes. The more he cursed, the heavier his burden became. One day, A traveler passed through the village and said to him, "Why do you speak curses over your life? Bless what you have and watch it grow." The man scoffed, but that night he tried. He gave thanks for his bed, for the roof, for the little bread he had. The next day he did the same. Slowly his heart shifted. He saw beauty where before he saw lack. And as months passed, opportunities arose. His work multiplied, his wealth grew, his life transformed. Years later, he told his children, "The day I chose gratitude was the day my fortune changed." This is the power you hold. Gratitude turns walls into doors, scarcity into seed, delay into preparation. It is not reaction, it is creation. Science, too, has glimpsed this mystery. Studies show that those who practice gratitude regularly experience better health, deeper sleep, stronger relationships, more resilience, and even longer lives. Why? Because gratitude rewires the brain, shifts the nervous system, and floods the body with healing chemistry. Gratitude is medicine for the soul and magnetism for the future. But gratitude is more than a feeling, it is a stance. To be grateful is to declare, "I already have, I am already blessed, I am already abundant." And when you declare this, reality responds in kind. Here lies the paradox. Many wait for abundance to arrive before they give thanks. But abundance waits for gratitude to be felt before it arrives. To say thank you before the harvest is to water the seed. To say thank you after the harvest is to honor the fruit. Both are holy, but the first draws miracles, the second sustains them. Think of the mystics. They prayed not with begging, but with thanks. They did not say, "Please bring healing." They said, "Thank you that healing is already done." They did not say, "Please send rain." They said, "Thank you for the rain that falls now." Their gratitude was not hope, it was certainty, and creation obeyed. Let me give you another story. A woman, weary from loneliness, longed for love. Each night she cried, asking why love had forsaken her. But then she learned of this power. She began to give thanks, not for what was missing, but for what was already present. She thanked the warmth of the sun, the smile of strangers, the friendships she had. Slowly, her heart softened. Her energy shifted. One day, she met someone who mirrored the gratitude she radiated, and together they built a life of joy. Her love story began not when another entered, but when gratitude opened her heart. This is the essence of gratitude. It does not change the outer first, it changes the inner. And when the inner shifts, the outer must follow. But how do you live this power daily? First, by noticing. Gratitude begins with awareness. Look around. There is always something to bless. The breath in your lungs, the beating of your heart, the ground beneath your feet. When you notice, you shift from blindness to sight, from lack to plenty. Second, by speaking. Gratitude grows when voiced. Whisper your thanks each morning, speak them aloud in prayer, write them upon the page. Let gratitude become the language you speak most often, and it will reshape the dialogue of your life. Third, by feeling. Gratitude is not mere words, it is emotion. To say thank you without feeling is surface. To feel gratitude until tears rise, until joy swells, until your body vibrates with it. That is the power that transforms worlds. Now imagine this. You are holding a cup. If you curse the cup, it remains small. If you bless the cup, it overflows. Gratitude is the blessing that enlarges the vessel of your life, making room for more. Gratitude is also protection. When storms come, gratitude anchors you. When loss strikes, gratitude reveals what remains. When delays frustrate, gratitude reminds you, even in this, there is hidden blessing. Gratitude does not deny pain, it redeems it. It does not erase trial, it extracts meaning. Let me give you one more story. There was a soldier, wounded in battle, paralyzed from the waist down. At first he fell into despair, cursing fate. But one day he chose gratitude. He gave thanks for the breath still in his lungs, for the sight still in his eyes, for the ability to speak, to love, to think. Slowly, his life transformed. He wrote books, inspired others, built a life of meaning beyond what his body could do. He said, "I lost the use of my legs, but gratitude gave me wings." So, what do you have now that you can give thanks for? Do not wait for more to arrive. Bless what is in your hand and watch the universe multiply it. Sacred practice, the gratitude flood. Tonight, before sleep, take 10 minutes to flood your mind and heart with gratitude. Speak aloud or write down 20 things you are grateful for, small and large, past and present. As you list them, pause after each one and feel the gratitude rise. Do not rush. Let each thank you sink like a stone into the river of your soul. When you wake in the morning, before you touch your phone or speak to anyone, place your hand on your heart and whisper, "Thank you for this day. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for the abundance already flowing." Do this daily and watch as your frequency shifts. Doors will open, joy will deepen, life will mirror the gratitude you radiate. The forgotten power of gratitude is alive within you. It is not weakness, it is magnetism. It is not passivity, it is creation. And when you remember it, you will discover the secret that sages carried across centuries. The thankful heart is the wealthy heart, and the wealthy heart cannot be denied. Chapter 11. The Power of Presence. There is a doorway into eternity hidden in every moment. It is not in yesterday's regrets nor tomorrow's illusions, but here, now, in the breath you are taking, in the silence between heartbeats. This doorway is the 11th forgotten power, the power of presence. Presence is the art of being fully here. It is the sacred act of entering the eternal now, where the past cannot bind you and the future cannot frighten you. Presence is not passive, it is power. For when you are truly present, the whole universe gathers in that moment, and you become aligned with the eternal current that creates all things. Most live as fugitives of time. They dwell in memories of what was, replaying mistakes, clinging to wounds, or they run into the fog of what may be, anxiously projecting fears, endlessly chasing horizons that recede as they run. They miss the only place where life truly exists, the now. But presence is not just a philosophy, it is a force. To awaken presence is to awaken freedom. Think of the tree. It does not regret yesterday's fallen leaves. It does not fear tomorrow's storms. It simply stands, rooted, alive, present. In its presence, it draws sunlight, water, and air. It grows without strain because it surrenders to the moment. This is the secret you have forgotten. You are not meant to be fragmented across time. You are meant to be whole, here, alive in presence. Let me tell you a story. There was once a warrior, trained in battle, feared for his skill. Yet in the quiet of his own heart, he was restless, anxious, burdened. He traveled to a monastery, seeking peace. The master gave him a cup of tea and said, "Drink." The warrior gulped quickly, distracted, thinking of tomorrow's war. The master smiled and said, "You have missed the tea." Confused, the warrior asked, "How can one miss tea?" The master replied, "You were drinking with your mouth, but not with your soul. You were here, but not present." True peace is not found in tomorrow's victory. It is found in this sip, fully received. The warrior wept, for he realized he had never truly lived a moment. That day, his battle ended, not with sword, but with presence. So it is with you. Presence is the end of struggle. Presence is the end of waiting. Presence is the end of fear. For when you enter the now, you realize nothing is missing, nothing is broken, nothing is lacking. All is here, all is enough. But presence is more than stillness, it is creation. When you are present, your focus sharpens, your energy intensifies, your vibration rises. The now is a point of infinite power. From presence, you speak with authority, you imagine with clarity, you create with precision. The distracted mind scatters energy across past and future, but the present mind concentrates it like a sunbeam. And in that concentrated beam, miracles unfold. Think of the artist lost in the act of painting, forgetting time, forgetting self. Think of the musician caught in the flow, every note alive with spirit. Think of the lover gazing into the beloved's eyes, where the world dissolves into eternal now. These are glimpses of presence, and in them, life becomes luminous. The mystics called presence the eternal moment, the place where God dwells. For the divine is not in the past, nor waiting in the future. The divine is here, now, breathing with you, alive in every particle of this moment. To awaken presence is to meet the divine face to face. But how do you awaken this power in the midst of daily chaos? First, through breath. The breath is the anchor of presence. Close your eyes, inhale deeply. Feel the air enter your lungs, feel your chest rise, feel life itself moving within you. In that moment, you are present. Breath is the gateway to now. Second, through awareness. Look around. Notice the play of light on the walls, the sound of the wind, the sensation of the ground beneath your feet. When you notice, you return. Awareness calls you home. Third, through surrender. Presence is not control, it is release. Let go of the need to fix the past or manipulate the future. Enter fully into what island? In surrender, presence flowers. Let me give you another story. A woman lived her life in worry. She feared what tomorrow would bring. She regretted what yesterday had stolen. One day she met a teacher who said, "Your mind is a thief, stealing you from the now. Take back your treasure. For a week, do nothing but notice. When you eat, eat. When you walk, walk. When you listen, listen." At first, she struggled. Her mind wandered to what if, to what was. But slowly, she learned. She tasted food she had never tasted before. She heard songs she had ignored. She saw beauty she had missed. And in that week, she felt wealthier than in all her years. The wealth was not money, it was presence. This is the forgotten power, the ability to enter the now and discover eternity waiting there. And presence is not only peace, it is manifestation, for when you are fully present, you collapse the gap between desire and fulfillment. The future is no longer distant, it is here, vibrating in the now. When you give thanks in presence, You embody the result as if it already exists, and reality obeys. Imagine this. You stand before a mirror. If you live in the past, the mirror shows only ghosts. If you live in the future, the mirror is fogged with anticipation. But if you live in the now, the mirror clears, and your reflection shines with truth. That is the gift of presence. It reveals what has always been here. Sacred practice, the still point. Tonight, sit in silence. Close your eyes. Place your hand upon your heart. Breathe deeply. With each breath, whisper silently, I am here. I am now. I am enough. Let the words sink into your body. Notice the sensations, the heartbeat, the warmth, the rise and fall. For 10 minutes, do nothing but return again and again to this still point. Tomorrow, when you eat, pause to taste. When you walk, pause to feel the ground. When you speak, pause to truly listen. These pauses are doorways. Each time you enter them, you step into eternity. The forgotten power of presence is alive in you now. It is not distant. It is not difficult. It is here, waiting in every moment you dare to notice. When you master it, you will discover that the kingdom of heaven, the temple of the divine, the source of abundance, has always been not in some distant time, but in the eternal now. Chapter 12. The Power of Love. There is a force older than time, brighter than the stars, stronger than fear, and deeper than death. It is the root of creation, the rhythm of galaxies, the song of every soul. It is the 12th forgotten power, the power of love. Love is not sentiment. Love is not weakness. Love is the most potent frequency in the universe, the vibration upon which reality itself is built. Without love, form collapses, meaning crumbles, energy fragments. With love, life blossoms, harmony reigns, abundance flows. Love is not what you feel when circumstances are perfect. It is what makes circumstances perfect. You were born of love. Your first cry was received by it. Every heartbeat is sustained by it. Yet, as you grew, the world disguised love as romance, as transaction, as sentimentality. But true love is far more than emotion. It is the essence of the divine alive within you. To remember love is to remember your true nature. Think of the Sunday. It shines not because it is paid, not because it is asked, not because it is thanked. It shines because it cannot do otherwise. Love is the same. It gives because that is its nature. It radiates without demand. When you awaken this power, you become like the sun, self-sustaining, radiant, a source of warmth and abundance wherever you go. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who hated his neighbor. For years their conflict grew. Arguments, bitterness, walls of resentment. One day the man grew weary of carrying the weight. He sat in silence and whispered, "What would love do?" At first he resisted. Love seemed impossible, even foolish. Yet something shifted. The next morning he greeted his neighbor with kindness. Days turned to weeks, weeks to months, and slowly the wall dissolved. One day his neighbor confessed, "I never hated you. I was only reflecting your hate." Both wept, realizing love had freed them both. So it is with you. Love is liberation. Hatred chains both giver and receiver. Fear shrinks both heart and life, but love expands all it touches. The mystics said, God is love. Not because love is an attribute of the divine, but because love is the divine. To dwell in love is to dwell in God. To speak with love is to speak with divine authority. To act with love is to align with the very force that spins galaxies into being. But how do you awaken this power in a world that wounds, betrays, divides? First, by remembering that love is not dependent upon others. Love is not given when deserved, withheld when not. Love is your nature. To awaken it is to return to yourself. Others may reject it, but they cannot remove it. You are not loving for them. You are loving because love is what you are. Second, by beginning with yourself. Many long to love others, but live in self-hatred. But you cannot give what you deny within. Stand before a mirror, look into your own eyes, and whisper, "I forgive you, I accept you, I love you." At first the words may sting, but repeat them daily, and slowly the heart softens. Self-love is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is remembering that you too are worthy of the love you seek. Third, by expanding outward. Love is not only for partners or family, it is for all. Love the stranger, the enemy, the world itself. Love the breath, the ground, the sky. Love is a frequency, and when you dwell in it, your life becomes magnetic. Think of the times when you felt truly loved. In those moments, fear dissolved, doubt vanished, hope soared. That is the miracle of love. It heals what no logic can. It restores what no effort can. It bridges what no distance can. Now imagine this. You are a vessel of light. When you choose love, the vessel overflows, spilling warmth into the world. People feel it without words. Doors open, opportunities arrive, synchronicities multiply. For love is the highest frequency, and everything in the universe aligns with it. Let me give you another story. There was a healer in a small village. People came not for medicine, but for presence. She listened with compassion, touched with gentleness, spoke with kindness. Many said she had magic, but she confessed, "I have no magic, I only love, and love heals." She was right. For the sick grew stronger, the broken grew whole, not because of her power, but because of the love she radiated. This is your forgotten power. To love is to heal. To love is to create. To love is to align with the essence of the divine. But here lies the paradox. Love is not weakness. It is strength. To hate requires nothing but reaction. To love requires mastery. To hate chains you to another. To love frees you, even if the other remains in chains. Love is also abundance. When you bless others, you bless yourself. When you celebrate others' wealth, you multiply your own. When you give freely, you open channels for return. Love dissolves scarcity, for love knows no lack. Sacred practice, the radiance of love. Tonight, close your eyes, breathe deeply. Imagine a golden light in your chest, glowing, expanding. With each breath, let it grow brighter, warmer, wider, until it surrounds your body. Now, imagine it radiating outward into your home, your city, your world. Whisper silently, "I send love, I radiate love, I am love." As you do, notice the peace that rises, the joy that wells. You are not imagining love, you are remembering it. Tomorrow, choose one person, perhaps a friend, perhaps a stranger, perhaps even an enemy. Hold them in your heart, send them love, silently, without condition. Do this daily, and watch as your life transforms. For the more love you give, the more love you live. The forgotten power of love is alive in you now. It is not something you must earn, it is what you are. When you live in love, you live in alignment with the highest law of creation. And when you master it, you discover the greatest truth of all. Love is not what you give or receive. Love is what you become. Chapter 13. The Power of Forgiveness. There is a chain that binds countless souls, heavy and silent, forged not of iron but of memory, resentment, and pain. It is the weight of what was done, of words spoken, of wounds carried. This chain keeps people trapped in yesterday, unable to rise into tomorrow. And yet there is a key, an ancient key, that breaks it instantly. That key is the 13th forgotten power, the power of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not weakness. Forgiveness is not pretending the wound did not occur. Forgiveness is the choice to release the chain, to set yourself free from the prison of bitterness, to reclaim the energy that resentment has stolen. Forgiveness is liberation, not for the offender, but for you. Think of the river. When stones fall into it, they create turbulence. But the river does not stop, nor does it cling to the stones. It flows, it carries them, it smooths them, and eventually they are dissolved. Forgiveness is the flow of the river through your heart. Without it, you stagnate. You become dammed by memories. With it, you flow again, fresh, alive, free. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who carried hatred for his brother. A betrayal had shattered their bond, and for years he replayed the wound. Each night he rehearsed the offense. Each day he wore the bitterness like armor. Yet his life grew heavy, his health declined, his wealth diminished, his joy faded. One day an elder said to him, "You are carrying poison and drinking it daily, expecting your brother to fall, but it is you who are dying." The man wept. That night he chose forgiveness. Not because his brother deserved it, but because he deserved freedom. Slowly his life transformed. His health returned, abundance flowed, joy bloomed. He realized forgiveness had unlocked not his brother, but himself. This is the power you hold. Forgiveness is not for them, it is for you. It is the release of the hook that ties you to suffering. It is the cutting of cords that drain your life. It is the declaration, I refuse to be bound by what was. I choose freedom now. But forgiveness is not always easy. The wound may feel too deep, the betrayal too sharp. Yet here lies the truth. Forgiveness does not deny the pain, it transcends it. Forgiveness does not excuse the action, it dissolves its power over you. To forgive is not to condone, it is to reclaim your sovereignty. The mystics knew this well. They spoke of forgiveness not as morality, but as magic, for they knew that as long as you carry bitterness, you block the flow of blessing. Forgiveness clears the channel. It restores alignment. It opens the gates of abundance. Consider this. Resentment is focus, and what you focus upon expands. When you dwell on what was done, you water the seed of pain, and it grows. Forgiveness is withdrawing that focus, letting the seed wither. Forgiveness is choosing to water joy instead. Let me give you another story. A woman lost everything in a fire started by her neighbor's negligence. Her anger was justified, her loss undeniable. For years she carried hatred, waiting for justice. But justice never came. One day, weary of the burden, she chose forgiveness. She said aloud, I release you. I will not drink this poison another day. From that moment, her energy shifted. Doors of opportunity opened, she rebuilt her life, and she discovered a peace deeper than she had ever known. Forgiveness did not change the past, it changed her future. Now, you may ask, how can I forgive when the wound feels too great? The answer? Begin small. Forgive the little things, delays, disappointments, words. Each act strengthens the muscle. Then move toward the greater wounds. Forgiveness may not happen in one instant. It may unfold in layers, but each layer you release frees more of your soul. And forgiveness is not only for others, it is for yourself. How many dreams have you buried under self-condemnation? How many times have you whispered, "I failed, I am unworthy, I cannot forgive myself"? But the truth is this: until you forgive yourself, you cannot fully rise. You are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are the light that survives even the darkest night. Forgive yourself, and you will discover wings hidden beneath your scars. Forgiveness is also a secret of manifestation, for when you carry resentment, your energy is fractured. The universe mirrors back your fragmentation, but when you forgive, your energy unifies. Your vibration rises. You become magnetic again. Forgiveness is alignment, and alignment is abundance. Now imagine this. You are holding a rope, and on the other end is the person who wronged you. You pull, they pull, and you are locked in endless struggle. Forgiveness is not losing the battle, it is dropping the rope. The moment you let go, you are free. They may still pull, but you no longer feel the tension. You walk away into peace. Sacred practice, the release. Tonight, find a quiet space. Close your eyes. Picture the face of the one you need to forgive. It may be another, or it may be yourself. See the chain that binds you together. Feel its weight. Then, breathe deeply, and with your exhale, whisper, "I release you. I forgive you. I set you free. I set myself free." Imagine the chain dissolving into light. Feel the weight lift. Feel the energy return. Even if the emotion lingers, repeat this practice daily. In time, the chain will vanish completely. And for yourself, stand before a mirror. Look into your own eyes. Whisper, "I forgive you. I accept you. I love you." Repeat until your heart softens. Do this daily, and you will discover a freedom you had forgotten possible. The forgotten power of forgiveness is alive within you now. It is the key to release, the sword that cuts the cords of pain, the bridge into peace. Remember this: forgiveness does not change the past, it changes the future. And when you wield it, you become untouchable by bitterness, unstoppable in love, unshakable in destiny. Chapter 14. The Power of Intention. There is a law inscribed into the invisible, a law that shapes reality long before action takes form. It is not chance, it is not accident, it is not random, it is deliberate, it is chosen. It is the 14th forgotten power, the power of intention. Intention is not a wish. Intention is not a vague hope cast into the wind. Intention is direction. Intention is the arrow that tells the universe where to aim, the command that organizes chaos into order, the spark that begins the journey from the unseen to the seen. Every action, every creation, every manifestation begins not with labor, but with intention. Most live without it. They drift like leaves in a current, pushed by circumstance, reacting to whatever appears. But those who awaken intention are no longer drifters. They are navigators. They set their sail, they choose their course, they tell the winds of life where to carry them. Think of an archer. Without aim, the arrow falls useless, but with aim, even the smallest pull strikes the target. Intention is your aim. Without it, your energy scatters. With it, every word, every thought, every action moves toward alignment. Let me tell you a story. There was once a builder commissioned to create a temple. At dawn, he gathered his workers and said, "We will not lift a stone until we set the intention." He closed his eyes and declared, "This temple will be a sanctuary of light, a place where generations find peace." The workers laughed, eager to begin the labor, but the builder held them until the intention was set. Decades later, when the temple stood, people entered and wept without knowing why. The air vibrated with peace. The walls carried light. What the builder had intended at dawn had infused every stone. So it is with your life. What you intend shapes what you create. Do you rise each day with no direction, or do you begin with intention? For the universe listens most clearly not to action, but to alignment. The mystics understood this. They taught that thought without intention is like smoke without fire. It drifts, it disperses. But intention is the spark that ignites, the command that anchors thought into the fabric of reality. Intention is not mere thought. It is thought married to will, fused with belief, energized by emotion. Consider water. If you pour it upon the ground, it spreads aimlessly. But channel it, direct it, and it becomes a river, a current, a force that can carve valleys and move mountains. Your energy is water. Intention is the channel. Science, too, has begun to glimpse this truth. Experiments show that focused intention can influence even the behavior of particles, the growth of plants, the healing of bodies. The mind, when aligned with intention, is not separate from matter. It is the architect of matter. Now you may ask, how do I awaken this power deliberately? First, by clarity. You cannot intend what you cannot define. Be clear. Name what you choose. Write it, speak it, see it. Intention begins with precision. Second, by declaration. Speak your intention aloud. Whisper it in prayer. Declare it in silence. Each word carries weight. When you declare, you imprint it upon the unseen. Third, by alignment. Intention without alignment is empty. Align your thoughts, your emotions, your actions with your intention. Live as though it is already unfolding. The universe responds not to contradiction, but to consistency. Let me give you another story. A woman dreamed of writing a book. For years, she longed but never acted. Then, one morning, she set a clear intention. I will finish my book within this year, and it will inspire thousands. She wrote it down, spoke it aloud, and returned to it daily. Suddenly, opportunities appeared. Time opened, inspiration flowed, mentors arrived. Within months, her book was complete. It reached more than she imagined. She said later, "The book was written the day I set the intention. The rest was simply the unfolding." This is the essence of intention. Once set, the universe begins to move. People appear, doors open, coincidences align. You think it is chance, but it is not. It is intention weaving reality. Yet here lies the danger. If you do not set intention, you live by default. And default is shaped by fear, by culture, by circumstance. Without intention, you drift into lives that do not belong to you. With intention, you choose. You reclaim sovereignty. Imagine standing at a crossroads with countless paths before you. Without intention, you wander, lost. With intention, you choose, and the path lights beneath your feet. The future is not written, it is directed. Intention is also the secret of sacred rituals. Every candle lit, every prayer spoken, every meditation begun. It is not the action, but the intention behind it that holds power. Light a candle with no intention, and it is only fire. Light a candle with intention, and it becomes a beacon that pierces the invisible. Now bring this to your daily life. Do you eat with intention, or do you consume mindlessly? Do you speak with intention, or do words fall empty? Do you love with intention, or do you drift in half-presence? Every act, when infused with intention, becomes sacred. Every gesture becomes powerful. Every breath becomes creation. Sacred practice. The morning intention. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, before you move into the day, sit quietly. Place your hand over your heart. Whisper, "Today, I set my intention." Speak clearly what you choose. Peace, abundance, love, creativity, freedom. See it, feel it, declare it. Then, as the day unfolds, return to it. When distractions arise, pause and ask, "Does this align with my intention?" If yes, continue. If no, release. This practice will transform not only your days, but your destiny. The forgotten power of intention is alive in you now. It is not distant, it is immediate. You can wield it today, in this very moment. Set the arrow, aim the bow, declare the course. And the universe will bend to the clarity of your choice. Chapter 15. The Power of Faith in Action. There is a mystery hidden in the union of thought and deed, of vision and embodiment, of spirit and flesh. It is not enough to imagine, not enough to believe, not enough to feel. You must also move. This is the 15th forgotten power, the power of faith in action. Faith without action is a seed left in a drawer. It may carry infinite potential, but until it is planted, it bears no fruit. Action without faith is toil without direction. It may move earth, but it builds nothing lasting. But faith joined with action, this is the alchemy that shifts worlds. Faith in action is not frantic striving. It is not exhausting yourself to force outcomes. It is the quiet, deliberate step taken in alignment with the unseen certainty of your vision. It is the gesture that says to the universe, "I know it is already done, and I live accordingly." Think of a farmer. He believes the seed will grow, but his belief alone does not bring harvest. He must plant, he must water, he must tend. Yet his action without faith would be empty, drudgery. If he did not believe the seed contained life, he would never plant it. It is the union of faith and action that brings abundance. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who longed to cross the sea to find a new land. He built a boat, plank by plank, but fear whispered, "What if the waters swallow you? What if the land does not exist?" For years he delayed, clinging to safety. Finally, he remembered the law. Faith without action is barren. He pushed the boat into the waves. At first, the sea seemed endless, the nights terrifying. But each stroke of the oar was an act of faith. Days later, land appeared. He wept, not because the land was new, but because he realized it had always been waiting for him. What had been missing was his willingness to move. So it is with you. Your vision, your abundance, your destiny, it is waiting. The universe has already aligned. but you must move. You must take the step that matches your faith. The mystics taught this in parables. One declared, "Faith without works is dead." Another said, "Move your feet while you pray." Another taught, "When you act as if it is already so, it must become so." They knew the secret. The inner must be joined to the outer, or the circle remains incomplete. Consider the lamp. It contains oil, it contains a wick, but until fire is brought, it remains dark. Faith is the oil, action is the flame. Together, they produce light. Now, what does this mean in daily life? It means you must stop waiting for perfect certainty. It means you must stop postponing the dream until conditions align. Faith in action moves despite uncertainty. Faith in action acts before the evidence appears. Faith in action is the bridge between inner conviction and outer manifestation. Think of the first step onto a staircase lost in fog. You cannot see the top, but you see the first step. Faith in action takes it. And when you do, the next appears. Without the step, the path remains hidden. With the step, the journey unfolds. Let me give you another story. A young woman dreamed of becoming a teacher, but she was poor, uneducated, filled with doubt. One day, she chose to act. She began teaching children in her village with what little she knew. She acted as if she were already a teacher. Word spread, opportunities came, doors opened, and in time, she became one of the most renowned educators in her country. She said later, "I became a teacher not when they gave me a title, but when I acted in faith as though I already was one." This is the essence. You must live as though it is already true. Act in alignment with your vision. Walk in the energy of your desire fulfilled, and life will mirror your stance. But here lies the caution. Do not confuse action born of fear with action born of faith. Fear-driven action is frantic, desperate, exhausting. It drains. Faith-driven action is aligned, peaceful, purposeful. It energizes. One forces, the other flows. One says, "I must make this happen." The other says, "It is already done, and I live accordingly." Faith in action is also subtle. It is not always grand gestures. Sometimes it is the smallest move, a phone call, a step forward, a decision that unlocks the cascade of destiny. The universe does not require your struggle. It requires your participation. Now, let us bring this closer. What is the vision you carry? Wealth? Health? Love? Ask yourself, what action would I take today if I truly believed it were already mine? Then take it. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. For action is the echo of faith, and without it, faith remains an unspoken word. Imagine this. Your vision is a flame, and your action is the wind. Without wind, the flame burns small. With it, the flame grows into fire. Each act of faith in action fans the flame until it lights the world. Sacred practice, the act of alignment. Tonight, write down one desire you hold. Beneath it, write one action you can take today that aligns with the belief that it is already fulfilled. If your desire is wealth, perhaps the action is generosity. If your desire is health, perhaps the action is walking with strength. If your desire is love, perhaps the action is speaking with tenderness. Do not wait for perfection. Choose the step, then take it. Tomorrow, repeat. Each day, choose one action that embodies your vision. Do this, and you will find your life shifting, not by struggle, but by steady alignment. The forgotten power of faith in action is alive in you now. It is the hand that plants the seed, the foot that takes the step, the voice that speaks the word. Without it, your vision remains dream. With it, dream becomes destiny. Remember this: the universe does not reward hesitation, it rewards alignment. Move, step, act, and watch as the invisible rushes to meet you. Conclusion: the return of your forgotten powers. You have walked through the hidden corridors of your being. One by one, the torches of your forgotten powers have been lit. Vision, word, belief, emotion, faith, intuition, focus, imagination, will, gratitude, presence, love, forgiveness, intention, and faith in action. 15 flames that were never lost, only waiting to be remembered. Each power is not separate, but part of a whole. Together, they form a crown upon your head, a staff in your hand, a light within your chest. You are not small, you are not powerless. You are not at the mercy of fate. You are the architect of reality, the author of destiny, the co-creator with the divine. The world taught you to forget. It told you to surrender your imagination, silence your intuition, bury your faith, scatter your focus, numb your love. It convinced you that power was outside of you, locked in governments, in wealth, in chance. But now you remember, the power was never outside. It was always here, in you, silent and eternal. Look at your life. The same hands that once felt empty are filled with creative fire. The same voice that once trembled is a sword of light. The same heart that once carried wounds is a fountain of love. The same mind that once scattered is a beam of focus. You are no longer a wanderer, you are awake. But awakening is not the end, it is the beginning. For now you must live as though you know. Carry these powers into every moment. Speak words of creation, not destruction. Believe in abundance, not lack. Feel gratitude until tears rise. Stand in presence until eternity unfolds. Love until walls collapse. Forgive until chains dissolve. Act as though it is already done. The path will not always be easy. Shadows will whisper. Distractions will lure. Fear will knock. But remember, no shadow survives light. No distraction survives focus. No fear survives love. You are not weak. You are the vessel of 15 forgotten powers. When you live them, you become untouchable, unshakable, unstoppable. And as you rise, others will rise with you. For when one flame remembers, it ignites another. Soon, 1,000 torches burn, and the world itself is illuminated. This is how transformation spreads, not by force, but by remembrance. So let this be your vow. I will not forget again. I will live my vision, speak my power, believe with certainty, feel with depth, act with faith, love without condition, forgive without end. I will embody the forgotten powers, not as myth, but as truth. And as you do, life will bend, miracles will unfold, destiny will obey. For you are not ordinary, you never were. You are infinite, radiant, divine. You are the forgotten power made flesh. If these words awaken something within you, if even one flame has been reignited, let your heart respond. Like this video to seal your intention. Leave a comment sharing the power that spoke to you most deeply. Subscribe so you may continue walking with us through more sacred journeys. This is not an ending. This is a beginning. The forgotten powers are yours now. Live them, and the universe will open its gates. You have remembered. You are free. You are powerful. You are infinite.